What's good, guys? I'm going to give it to you like this in this video. We're going to dive straight into it. Let's talk about your higher consciousness and how you need to be in these times. What we need more of in the world. What your purpose is. Why you're watching this video. Have you ever heard of Christ consciousness, if you will? Christ consciousness was the consciousness of straight indifference, where, the stories of Christ where he basically, with faith alone and this knowingness, was able to create miracles, was able to open up his pineal gland, was literally, he had zero fear, right? And, in these times, in these days, we're at the end of a cycle. And a lot of people don't know this cycle. Now, I was watching an Ancient Aliens episode, and they were talking about how basically some abductees, if you will, saw the same things and had the same story. And one of the stories that they were telling was they saw a map on the wall when they were in this alien spaceship or whatever. And on the wall, this map had a timeline of human species that had been going on for about 6,000 years, if you will. And we were right in the last 100 years of the timeline. Now, you can speculate however you want to speculate that, but I always knew the plan that they were going to roll out. Well, here we are in 2020. You got bioweapons being released in China. You got people talking about World War III. All the presidents are related to each other. We got, 1913, they put in the central bank, then they collapsed, the economy in the 1920s. Well, now we're in the 2020s. And, AI, artificial intelligence is coming out. This is all part of a plan. And, there's the forces of dark and light that are about to take people up or down, right? That's basically it, And at the end of the day, people say, oh, love is the answer, or blah, 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 whatever, insert here is the answer. Or people will say, well, dude, everything's already fucked up anyways, so just live it up, live to your full potential, love the moment, enjoy the technology that we have, etc., etc. They've got people so glued to their technology. They got people so glued to these handheld devices that people are straight up apathetic towards life. Now, I don't think that it's all about, love and, smoking weed and ganja, baby, and fucking hippie bullshit. And I don't think it's, Bob Marley had the answer, so that's why they killed him. And Jesus had the answer, and that's why they killed him. Well, here's the thing. It's not that in their words speaking about love was the answer. It was in their being, in their beingness, what they unlocked through their states of being, which was setting the example. You understand? That's the solution. The other day, I made a video for you guys, and I was talking about how girls see people for their state of beings, for who they're being at the moment. And you can see when you switch, you can switch your state of being. Here's an example. When a guy gets really horny for a girl and he gets turned on, he all of a sudden, switches off his emotions and he just goes for her and he tries to rape her or whatever. Girls can see that guy just switched into, a demon just came over him or something, right? So his state of being switched. He became a different person. Well, Jesus or Bob Marley, these people switched into a state of being which they could only explain through the word love. That was the only way that they could, express it. But words can't even express the state of being that they became. Christ consciousness or higher consciousness is the best way we can describe it, but words cannot describe it. But intuitively, you guys know what I'm talking about. And it's that being that you need to come into in these times. We got people here on YouTube teaching you guys how to be alpha males just to have sex with women. Okay, let me paint a picture for you guys. You go out there, you work super, super hard to try and get these girls, and then you act like you don't want them. What you're trying to emulate to get those girls, you're trying to emulate Christ consciousness. You best believe Jesus had girls on his dick. But here's the thing. It's because he actually did not want to indulge with them. So you have all these guys that are trying to create this lifestyle where they can indulge in women, but they keep busting nuts, and then they have to take testosterone, to take fucking synthetic testosterone, synthetic hormones to actually boost up their energy enough so that they can work out and get gains and have muscle at the same time, have sex with these women. And then they up and down, drain up and down, drain up and down. Guys getting tattoos, riding motorcycles just to flip that switch off in the girl's head because getting tattoos is risky and riding motorcycles is risky, and girls are attracted to risk takers. They just want to flip that switch in the girl's mind just to get laid, just so they can indulge, just so that they can kill themselves. You understand? Because every time you nut, it's a miniature death. You can look it up. I don't know if it was in the Greek language or something like that, but the root of orgasm actually meant miniature death. Because every time you bust a nut, you die a little bit. You give a little bit of your essence, what you could have been, your potential. And that's why every time I fucking bust a nut, I was like, fuck. I'm like, there goes nothing. Or every time you masturbate and you jack off, you're depressed after, you feel guilt. You feel guilt because you are literally betraying your essence. You're betraying God. Now, I think everything is God. Everything all is. This whole experience is God, if you will. But that's besides the point. The essence and the beingness of having no fear, of needing nothing, of being okay, of not trying to reach a certain level, so you're not feeling like you're missing out. If you think about like somebody cheating on you, or if you think about somebody having fun without you or doing something, what do you imagine, guys? You imagine, oh, like she's getting fucked by like this girl that you think is like your girl or whatever is getting fucked by this guy in this horrible way. Well, what do you mean horrible way? You might think like, oh, she's getting fucked like in a slutty way or whatever, right? And he's abusing her or whatever, right? So you think about that, and then maybe your brain thinks, well, to feel like I'm not missing out, I gotta go fuck a girl like that. And then that leads to what? BDSM. That leads to, wanting younger and younger girls, which leads to pedophilia. You see how each one of these doorways leads you down a path which is your ultimate destruction. Am I wrong on that, you guys? It's just leading you towards indulgence. Now, in these times, at the end of this cycle, when we're addicted to our technology, but we're also apathetic, and now we're killing ourselves, right? Binge watching shows. We just eat ourselves to death. Like everybody's like killing themselves, right? In these ages, in this time here, especially in the West, right? But then they start coming out with like fear and fear. So it's like, then you go spiral into your own apathy. So you need to be aware of what they are doing, and then realize that it's not all about, being vegan. It's not all about love, baby, and like, oh, like the spiritual movement and like crystals and like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's going to be the polarities on this side. People think they have the answer, like, oh, sustainable this, sustainable that, da-da-da-da-this. And over here it's going to be like apathy, BDSM, just fucking jacking off, porn, like all this stuff that just kills you, right? Like whatever. You have both the sides, but I'm going to tell you, both the sides are indulgence. Both the sides are indulgence. All right? Being vegan is not going to save your life. All right? It's just not. All right? And just fucking your life away or becoming an alpha male that attracts all the females so you fuck all the girls that you always wanted to is not going to save your life either. So, what is the answer? Well, like I said, it's that beingness that you can't explain with words. Now, I know that's not tangible. You can't sink your teeth into it. It's like, oh, what the fuck was the point of making the video, dude, if you can't even explain it? Well, let's go deep here. This beingness is the same beingness that changed the world multiple times. Now, like Kobe said, every time he explained that love is basically going through the ups and the downs, riding the wave out for something that you actually love or care about, right? So there's the ups and the downs, and yes, but this beingness he was talking about basically in there. It's like, you you go through the ups and the downs and you ride the wave, and you go through the next storm inevitably to see the sunshine, to go through the next storm for something that you love. And it's being in that right there, doing that, going through that beingness, which is the ultimate answer, which everybody describes as love. Like, love is the answer, da 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 da, right? So that's dope, but it has nothing to do with being nice or being alpha or being bad, like a bad boy, or being a nice guy or anything like that. It has nothing to do with anything like that. It doesn't have to do with being weak or strong either. It literally is a beingness that transcends duality, right? That transcends the good, the evil, the light, the dark. It's a beingness. It's like it's a center. It's, once you're there, It's not like you have to believe your way there. You have to work out at the gym your way there. You have to meditate your way there. No. See, I was about to meditate before I made this video, and then I was like, don't have to. Because it's just a beingness. It's just you get there, you go there. Now, the Iceman, Wim Hof, gets there by going under the ice or doing breathing techniques. And this is what he teaches people to get to that place. Meditation, to get to that place where you understand this concept. But I'm going to let you guys know it's not needed. It's not needed to get to this actual place. This actual place can be accessed just by accessing it. So your brain wants to think, well, how do I access it? How do I get there? Well, what do I need to do? It's thinking very logically. But this isn't a logical thing. This isn't an emotional thing. This is just a being thing. This is you already are thing. It's an is thing. It's an undoing. It's in the book that I'm reading right now, Trying Not to Try. Basically, it's wu. It's literally letting go at its core. Now, in this whole grand scheme of things, people say like, "Oh, dude, don't focus on this. Don't focus on the fear over here that they're giving us. It's just a spiritual war. The whole fear thing, that's the whole thing that they're doing." Yes, I hear that, but don't focus on all the excitement over here. Why? Because now you have an expectation. Because now you have something that your state of being is dependent upon. You understand? Like, oh, what's the point of living if I don't have money? You'll hear that a lot. Like, what's the point of living if you're broke? Now you're polarized into if you're not experiencing this, there's no point. Or what's the point of living if you're just living in fear? Now you're polarized over there. No, you just live because you are alive, and you just sink into that higher self, which is ironic because it's a higher self, but you sink into it because it's just because it's already there, guys. You don't have to reach up high to grab your higher self. Your higher self is already there. You already are it. You don't need to do anything to access it. All right? And with that being said, guys, in these times, in all times, actually, that is the answer. If you think to the past, you might think about like, well, how did those people live back then? Like, you might think like, oh, that was so boring. They didn't have technology. They didn't have this. They didn't have that. Like, that was like, if you knew what the future was like gonna be like, and you knew what your whole life was gonna be like till you died, you'd want to commit suicide. Or then you talk to like a girl that likes the 60s or something. She's like, no, I would have loved to live back then. Like, their clothes, because to her, the things that she values in her life are friend connections when everybody wasn't glued to their phones, family, wearing cool outfits, and it wasn't all about fake boobs and like all this plastic surgery now that girls are all falling into, right? And that's another funny thing. Girls be so fucking lost these days. But dudes are trying to get validation and impress girls that are lost. How fucking lost are these dudes? You're trying to impress. Or no, you're looking for your queen, right? You're looking for your queen, right? But at the core, the feminine nature is looking for a solid foundation of certainty within the masculine. And so you're searching for your queen, you're lost. You won't find her. Alright? That's how it works, guys. Now, that core of masculinity, guys, it's not being polarized to only being like a man. We all have masculine and feminine within us. You need to integrate it. And that's the balancedness. And that also just comes naturally by being. Alright? But yeah, so in these times, guys, you need to access your Christ consciousness. You need to access your higher self. Imagine it like this. The whole world's panicking, the whole world's going crazy. How are you going to act? Really think about it right now. Let's picture the whole world going crazy and panicking. Are you going to be the certainty that's right there, that solid stone? That's what we need you to be. We need lights. So if let's say this video right now reached 1 million people, which it won't, guys, and that's not me jinxing the video. That's not me putting a spell on it where now I'm using the law of attraction against. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, guys. This video is not going to get 1 million views, alright? But let's say it did. Let's say it did get 1 million views and 1 million people heard this. Well, let's say now we had 1 million people that when the world panicked, they were a fucking rock. There's of certainty, just beingness, not being swayed left or right by the pendulum of duality. They just stayed firm. Well, guess what? The world probably wouldn't go crazy because each one of those 1 million people would probably take 100 to 1,000 to another million they would duplicate themselves in other people, setting the example, just like Jesus did, just like Bob Marley did, just like all these people that shed their light on the world by being their higher self. You understand? So that's the answer right there. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like, every time, no matter what happens in any part of any cycle, things basically get balanced out. Now, what's happening in this part of the cycle is they're trying to tip the scale, and when things tip, they go and then they come back. So it comes back, but they want to basically make everybody apathetic while they take over and consolidate power, and then rebirth something out of the ashes because they're going to topple things down and rebirth it, right? It's just the way of the universe. It's just a cycle. It's all happened before. There was all the same things that have happened right now that have happened before. It's the same fucking cycle. So knowing that, guys, stay fucking firm in your beingness, in your knowingness. Know that the indulgence won't bring you happy, and especially in these times, guys. Let's say you've already lived like thousands of lives before. You've already done enough indulging. All right, you've done enough indulging for like 30 million lives. Okay, you don't need to do it in this life. All right, you don't need to fuck as many girls as you can. But I guarantee, not needing it, you'll have the best sexual experiences of your life, and it's not going to be in a way where you just indulging and wasting your life force. You're probably going to retain a lot of semen, and you're probably going to be with a girl that's her whole self being her true self, higher self, not needing you as well, and you're not needing her. You understand? And that can only come from actually not needing it and letting it go completely. You don't need to try hard for it, guys. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing here that can bring you happiness. There's nothing here in this world that can bring you happiness. I heard someone say that progress is the solution for depression and progress is the key to happiness. Well, I'm going to tell you this much. When you get what you wanted and it doesn't fulfill you, that's when you feel the lowest sadness. So when you strive, and then finally at the end, you're like, what am I doing? And you look back, well, you're either going to commit suicide, get very depressed, or you're going to frantically keep going forward. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're frantically running forward. And so the key here is not to not make progress or only make progress. The key here is nothing in the Maya or the illusion of this world can fulfill you or bring you happiness. That means that just live and let live and be, and don't try to achieve, just being your highest self, and achievement will happen naturally. All right? And this was something that worked 100 years ago, it worked 1,000 years ago, it worked 10,000 years ago, and it'll work in these last 100 years. Well, if you're alive right now, you have 100 years. This is your last 100 years, regardless if the world goes on, regardless if there's a huge flood, regardless if there's an alien abduction, regardless if an asteroid hits the Earth, regardless of the Illuminati, whatever. This whole last 100 years is your last 100 years here, unless you believe in reincarnation, which then it doesn't even matter, or you believe in an afterlife, whatever. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you have less than 100 years to live, so live it like it's your only 100 years and it's the only 100 years that there ever will be, ever. And that doesn't mean trash the earth and don't take care of future generations. No, facilitate future generations, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Because legacies live on. But what I'm saying is nothing outside of you is the answer. All right, be your highest potential. You don't need anything. You can do everything, you can do anything, but don't indulge to try to fill a void. You know what I'm saying? Because when you try to fill a void, you are feeling like you need to avoid. What are you feeling like you need to avoid? Why are you trying to fill a void? Get me? Coming with the play on words right there. But anyways, guys, wanted to give you guys this message because now more than ever, we need people that find their highest potential. They find their highest being. It's not a potential that's in the future, guys. It's a now potential, which will create all the things that you wish to create and more here, and live your best life and let go of it at the same time simultaneously, because when you obtain something, you can lose it. Now you have fear, so don't care if you got it or you lost it. You'll just get it. You'll live with it, alongside of it, and you'll share it with those that you care about and those that you are growing with. And that, my friends, is being in the flow. And that, my friends, is enlightenment. And on that note, I'm outie 100.